What's up, people? Hope you're all doing great. And just wanted to make this live stream for the day. I think I'm almost done with this, but it almost feels like I don't want to be finished. It almost feels like, I just want this painting to go on forever and just to work on it forever and ever and ever. But at some point, we have to move on. We have to go on with our lives and do something different. Challenge ourselves to new activities, to new actions, to new ideas. And I still have a lot of work to do because I still got to do the fabric, and I still got to do this little area right here. Actually, this eye is actually looking okay. The face is looking okay. I want to reduce the shadow on the mouth area, and then a couple other things. But we're almost there, people. Almost there. It's an exciting time that we're almost complete. Who knows how long I need to finish this? I don't know. But let's enjoy the moment. It's just all we need to do is enjoy the moment of the painting. Yo, what's up? Hello, awesome people. Is this an original? Haha, is this the original painting by Michelangelo? Is this the original? So is this an original? Yes, this is originally taken from the roof of the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. I stole this from the Sistine Chapel. I stole the ceiling. Totally kidding. So, yeah, this the reference being used for this painting is, of course, a little intro to this painting. If no one's ever heard of it, it's called The Creation of Adam. This is called The Creation of Adam, and the original was painted by Michelangelo. Omizu doesn't think we're done? Ooh. Alright, well, we'll have to see. It's like I'm never done with this. If you're looking at a painting while painting this one, then yeah, move on. We already have. We're already moved on. Yes. This painting has definitely been already seen by there's probably at least 1 billion people who recognize this painting, the original. At least 1 billion, right? I would say that there's at least 1 billion people that know this piece. But anyway, let's go with our Mark Maggiore brush here. I was just making a video about this. I made like a series of 10 YouTube shorts. I was on a information rampage this morning, trying to pump out as much information as I can about art and stuff. So let's see about her face. There's a couple little shadow areas that need to be improved, but overall, I think her body's okay. Let's grab this brush, and then we're gonna grab a brushy brush. It's fine. I'm gonna use this brush. Mickey Angelo. Yes, that's right. Okay, Mickey Angelo. Let's grab. We got white. We need our yellow ochre. Let's grab some yellow ochre. Yellow ochre is always a great color to have laying around. Yellow ochre is like the perfect color for any skin tone. I think it's like yellow ochre is like the basic foundation, because everybody, according to somebody that said something in my elementary school, they said that apparently science says that everybody is a shade of brown. Every human being is a shade of brown. And I don't know if this was, they were trying to say, like, they were trying to make an argument that we're all, the same or whatever. I would say that, we all have a variety of skin colors. Parts of our skin are blue because of the veins underneath. Parts of our skin might turn red because of a sunburn. And, you know, I don't really believe that everybody is a form of brown all over. I think that there's a beauty in a variety of shades on our skin. And but I do think that yellow ochre is a great foundation of a color. Yellow ochre for like any skin tone, whether you want to go darker or lighter. This is a great place to start, whether you want to capture some of the reds or the yellows or anything on for a skin tone. I think yellow ochre is probably one of my favorite colors to build from. And um, yeah, so it's so interesting to build on top of a yellow ochre. As far as trying to capture a variety of skin tones, you know, you can add brown or white or yellows and reds and pinks, and there's so many ways to just capture such a wide range of. You're over this dang painting. Always playing in the background. Space Age Entertainment. Yellow ochre's whack. All right. Well, Omizu, you could definitely share your opinion. What is better than yellow ochre? Space Age Entertainment says whitewash. So what do you mean? What is Space Age Entertainment? What do you mean by whitewash? What do you feel? I mean, I know the term whitewash. I've heard of that. That's when you take something that is of a non-white culture, I guess, and then you turn it into a primarily white thing, I guess, right? Is that the most basic definition we can share, the Urban Dictionary definition? So what do you feel, assuming that's what you're saying, Space Age is whitewashed here? Unless you totally mean something else. Unless my I wasn't gonna try to play dumb as in, as if I didn't know what whitewash meant. But if you mean something, if you have something to share, an idea, a thought, an implication, an accusation, a negative view, a criticism, feel free to share it, man. This is the place. There's very few places, very few live streams that'll let you voice your own opinion without kicking you out or getting upset. Anyway, let's go on with this painting. What does this painting mean? So JK, but it is mixed red, yellow, and white, and you've got that whack-ass hue. All right. So what does this painting mean? So the title of this painting is called The Creation of Excellence. And, the general idea is basically Michael Jordan is one of the greatest basketball players alive. One of, there's a lot of greats. He represents this creation of excellence, So this original painting was Adam, or God creating Adam. So Adam, we all know the photo. Adam was standing here, and he was just laying here, and they were about to touch their hands. And it's the creation of Adam, right? The creation of, according to the story, right? So I'm just reforming the story that, the origination of human excellence, of modern human excellence, probably came from Michael Jordan. He's one of the tops. Like, how many athletes has Michael Jordan inspired? How many brands has, Michael Jordan influenced? How many people? And of course, there's a lot of people that have exuded excellence, right? You got Tiger Woods, you got all the athletes, a lot of great athletes, but I just picked Michael Jordan also because this actually works. This composition of what Michael Jordan is doing actually works. So he's a wide figure, he's got a wide stance. I could have picked some of his other poses, but this is a wide stance. On top of that, there's some other underlying messages that I guess I can always leave to a curator to analyze, but maybe a poke at consumerism. Let me be like Andy Warhol and make a poke at consumerist culture. and how godlike some of our greatest athletes become in our lives, you know? There you go. There's a good message. There's a powerful message there. Oh, well, thanks. Just talking about that helped me make, you know, like you could also say that maybe Michael Jordan has been raised to raised to the level of a god amongst men, you know, and women. Raised to the level of god-like powers. Maybe that's part of the message, you know. Maybe that is part of the message. There we go. There's stuff beneath the subconscious, underneath the ego mind, underneath the conscious mind that sometimes you just don't know. And I think art captures that sometimes. So I should probably start painting, right? You said it's a contemporary dunking on art of the past. Well, there you go. Yeah. All right, so I haven't painted. It's been about 11 minutes. That's about how long it usually takes me to start painting. 11 minutes. That's enough time to kind of answer all the questions and get going. So we're going to start, and we're going to go grab a white here and then try to find our ochre. I'm going to find our ochre here. As far as painting, I gotta get this little transition on Eve's face. This is the most challenging part, creating this little transition on Eve's face so that it doesn't look like, you know, she's got chocolate all over the bottom of her mouth. Let's go like this. And then I want to subtly make this little, you know, she's not drooling chocolate. That's not what we're trying to do here. So you know, the LeBron still doesn't have like an iconic image. You know, he's recognized as the king, but I still don't think LeBron has as iconic of an image as Michael Jordan. Like, if Michael LeBron was to invest in one thing, one marketing thing, he doesn't need to, right? Obviously, LeBron is LeBron. He's got so many brands and logos. He doesn't need to do this. But if he wants to compete with Michael Jordan, if he really wants to show Michael Jordan he's the best, LeBron still needs an iconic image, as iconic as the Jumpman logo. LeBron still doesn't have that. That's the one thing that if you really want to give a poke at LeBron compared to Michael Jordan, I think Michael Jordan's image, as far as his iconic logo, is more highly recognized than anything LeBron has ever made. I would say that. Now, obviously, anyone would recognize LeBron James as a person, right? If you were to do a silhouette of him, people would recognize his head, his beard, the length of his body. Like, anybody could probably guess a silhouette of LeBron. But I will say that LeBron James, if Michael Jordan has beat LeBron James in anything, it would definitely be that Michael Jordan has one of the most recognizable logos that has ever been created in the history of mankind. And LeBron doesn't have that. Nothing. I think almost nothing that LeBron James has even comes close. You know, even his I think LeBron James has a crown, but you know, you could get confused between a crown of LeBron James or the crown of Basquiat, right? So there's a lot of crowns. You know, King James still. If you really want to, you know, motivate LeBron James to invest in something, and you want to get his make a poke at his competitiveness with Michael Jordan. You yeah, he still needs a brilliant, iconic logo. That's the only thing LeBron James is missing to really establish himself as the greatest iconic figure in all of history. Did the original Michelangelo have a basketball player, or am I doing? Did he have a basketball player? Right. Yes. They had sports back in 1500s. It's called fighting to the death. They were fighting to the death. Alexa, when was the last fight to the death in the Roman Colosseum?
The last recorded fight to the death in the Roman Colosseum occurred in 435 AD.
Oh,
This event
no.
marked the end
Alexa
of
off. So definitely 1,000. Michelangelo painted this 1,000 years after the last Colosseum. So I'm a little wrong there, but you know what? Whatever. Whatever. I've been wrong before. That's cool. Call me wrong. I can accept it. So anyway, now I'm trying to find a gray that will go into here. And let's try to tighten up this lip right here. Yes, LeBron James still needs one of the greatest logos. LeBron James is still missing a logo. A brilliant logo. Not that he needs it. Again, LeBron James doesn't need it, but I still think that the reason. So to answer the question, I think the question was, why did I put Michael Jordan instead of LeBron? I think if I was to dig into myself unconscious, my subconscious mind, and really analyze why I chose that, I think it would be probably because Michael Jordan simply has a more iconic. He's just more iconic as far as the branding goes, right? The logo, the brand, those things. These the motion, the recognition of this movement. I wanted to capture that in the painting. But it doesn't mean, again, I'm not trying to say that LeBron James is not iconic. He is probably one of the most recognized figures on the planet. Maybe he at this point, with all the millennials and Gen Z and Gen X and whatever generation currently is alive. I mean, he's LeBron James probably recognized more than Michael Jordan. But again, that logo, totally sets Michael Jordan a little bit ahead, just a little bit. Not as an athlete, as far as the numbers are concerned, right? But definitely as far as being an iconic figure that has influenced people in the past and in going into the future. That is the one thing that Michael Jordan has that LeBron James still has not been able to truly do. And you know what? It's not one of those things that you can probably do on purpose. It's not something easy that you could just spend millions of dollars on, maybe even $1 billion on, trying to find the perfect logo that will, make LeBron James do this. It's got to come from a just a random source of inspiration. Have I done anything? Oh yeah, I did the beard. Let's go. Let's paint a little bit, people. That's what we're actually doing this for, not discussing basketball logos. I fell for the bait, distracted you some, shake it off, get back to teaching. Right. Ha ha ha, you got me. You got me. Sometimes, it's not hard to get me. You just gotta poke at one idea that gets me talking. I've been had. All right, so let's go like this. I'm gonna go around the leg here. Try to increase the light and shadow. I don't know why I painted these blue, but I did. So we're gonna go across. across this highlight right here. And let's go add some shadows along the foot here. So we're going to try to go for gray, but a lighter gray. Lighter gray. And Dondrell, yes. Honestly, I definitely recommend pretty much every artist to live stream that wants to, of course. Like if you really want to avoid it, I get it. But there's so many benefits to live streaming as an artist. Not just, you know, getting your name out there. That's one thing, but just being forced to sometimes even talk about your work and being forced to really think, you know, to have people like Dondrell pop in your live chat giving you a question that, you know, you probably do need to answer as an artist, right? Like so one day people will wonder like, oh, well, what inspired this? What's the meaning behind it? You know, all these things. And depending on your work, right? If you're like a surrealist, you might say, you might pick a page out of a book somewhere randomly that sounds good and send that over as the meaning to the book because, you know, you don't actually want to add a meaning. But then for some people, right, it's helpful to think of these things. It is helpful to come up with the meanings of your paintings. Sometimes. You don't always need a message, but again, depends on who you are as an artist, what your work represents, etc. Helps to have a meaning. It sells work, but also helps to be anti-meaning. That sells work too, being anti-meaning. There's a great story I heard about Salvador Dali. There's a painting in what's the name of the city? Santa Barbara. There's a painting in the Santa Barbara Museum of Art, and it basically is it's a Salvador Dali painting, and it features like a woman, while Salvador, and then but the story goes, there was at one point it was acquired by some wealthy patron of the arts, and when it became acquired, the patron of the arts wanted to find out. They said they messaged Salvador Dali and they wanted to ask him. They're like, "Hey, Salvador, you know, what's this painting mean? Surely it's about the end. Surely it's a commentary on fascism." And that was a question they asked Salvador Dali. And I think what Salvador Dali did, according to legend, is that he had his assistant go into some type of book. I don't remember what book it was, but go into a book and pick a random excerpt or something. She picked some excerpt from the book and used that, sent that message back to the person who wanted to know the answer of what it meant. And that is Salvador Dali, people. That is a brilliant way to be like, yo, stop trying to add meaning to my work and just let me paint. Great story. I really like the story. That's the legend of one of Salvador Dali's paintings. Who knows if it's true? You know, every story has some embellishments. Oh, you can't even see what I'm doing. What is this? He only paints other people's paintings, Paco. Do I stick to this? Okay, do I? Yes. Yeah, me sharing the story leveled you up. People gonna think whatever they think. Just make the art. Yeah, totally. Totally. And you know, I mean, it is one thing to have the answer. It's also another thing to, you know, go the total opposite direction. So, you know, whichever way you want to go is probably right. Yes. So here we go. Anyway, let's go into these feet here. I want to start to lighten up some of these feet. Let's start adding highlights onto the feet, onto our God figure's feet. And we're going to go some highlight. We're going to go, let's see, this one. I think I can actually bring this foot down a little bit. So we're going to bring the foot down just a little bit. I'm going to paint into here. And I want to erase away some of, I want to separate these feet just a little bit, these legs. I want to just separate some of these legs a little bit. And the way we're going to do that, we're going to take this part and just carve into his leg. We're just going to go like this. Should be a little bit higher. So we're going to go like this. Let's go carve into the leg here just a little bit. And let's reduce the size of this foot right here. So this needs to come in a bit further. And then there we go. So bring this down. And here we go. So we'll go like this. And there we go. Bring this down. Pop this around. By the way, Paco, thanks for the questions. Really appreciate you. I know I've been talking a lot for the past few minutes. And I pretty much talked throughout my whole live stream. Usually try to share good info. But, you know, as far as answering your questions goes, oh, yeah, that's a great question. There you go. So Don Drell's channel is totally worth checking out. He is he's an artist, and he is a recognized artist in Venice Beach, California. The Venice Beach, where Arnold Schwarzenegger used to hang out and where all the great Gold's Gym athletes used to go, and where one of the greatest beaches on the planet. Don Drell is an artist there. He's a recognized artist. So totally worth checking out. And let's see right here. We've got a little separation. I've got the separation that I want between the body. So what do I need to do now to... I want to separate the foot a little bit. Go up just a little bit further. See, there you go. Yeah, Don Drell's art, Paco, it's one of those things where you just gotta like see it. It's like, you know, there's probably some curator out there that can add a label to his work that could be like, oh, well, you know, it looks like it's got inspirations from so-and-so art movements. But really, you know, the more important thing, I think, is to just go look at it. You know, just see it. Take a look, take a peek. You can probably just tap his name and go straight to his channel, and you'll probably get all the information you could possibly want about Don Drell's work. I recommend it. I highly recommend it. Feel free to leave this channel to go look at Don Drell's artwork. Don't let me hold you. Don't let me hold you back. Go see Don Drell's pieces. It could change your life. You never know what can change your life. I love that. I love that phrase. Change your life forever. And there's so many things like both drastic and simple that could possibly change your life. You know, you could read one quote in a book somewhere, and that could change your life forever. Or you can meet one person somewhere out and about, and that could change your life forever. There's so many things that can potentially change your life forever. Tandril says I've changed his life. Okay, cool. Well, I'm very I am grateful to you for helping to change your life. I am thankful to you for sharing that I have changed your life for better or worse. Even if it's bad, I'm thankful that you're sharing it. Here we go. So anyway, we're gonna go. All right, we're gonna go around here. And we're gonna go like this. I'm gonna go boom, 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 and then paint this up around. We're gonna go around here. Boom. Come down. Bam, bam. And then just paint in some highlights around the top of this leg. The top of this leg needs to get some highlights. And let's see, Omizu. Yeah, Omizu has changed my life too. Omizu has definitely changed my life. Yes, see, artists, we all influence each other in some way. It's fantastic. It's a great way. It's a great way to thrive. All right, so here we go. We got this white leg on the back side. It's very pale. It's a very pasty leg. I never understood how, you could live up in the skies and like not have a tan. But whatever. Whatever. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and brush in some more highlight. I'm trying to avoid the toes right now, but I should probably just get into the toes. Let me see how I can do the toes. Let's add a bit more of the shadow. Let's find this gray, brown shadow here. Lighten it up a little bit. What? Dondrill, you really don't know who Basquiat is? My goodness. That's pretty amazing. Wow. Wow. That fascinates me. That is a fascinating thing you just said. Like, Basquiat's probably the most advertised artist right now. And how anyone can, like... like, I think Jay-Z owns one of his paintings. Till I met you all, you thought your paintings were the top-ish. Now everyone's art is the best and yours is trash. Well, that makes sense. Talk some more. You're listening while biking for cheeseburger. You had to cut your hair. Oh, you had to cut your hair because people thought you. Well, yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, it's definitely, it's definitely Basquiat's an interesting one because basically anyone nowadays who you know, does things that are very expressive is pretty much categorized as, someone who I don't know, Basquiat's got a monopoly on expressionism almost, expression he's got a monopoly for now. I mean, I don't know, is that the right term, monopoly? Like when people think of paintings that look even remotely like Basquiat, they instantly think Basquiat. So it's really hard to separate yourself nowadays, from his work. If you make that type of work. Obviously, if you don't make that type of work, you got nothing to worry about. But anyway, he's a fantastic artist. Amazing Basquiat. Really like his ideas. And let's see, we're gonna go into the leg here, and we're gonna go boom, 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 boom. Let's blend in some of the shadow here. Just go boom into the shadow a bit. There we go. Blend in some shadow. Go around the knees and kind of add in this color into our shadow right here. Let's go. We're gonna keep this color going. Your Basquiat did the dread thing after he met Bob Marley, so he was just like everyone else and was inspired. That's a good. I didn't know that. After he met Bob Marley, that's cool. Did not know that. That is a new factoid for me. I need to tighten up this leg right here. This leg. Let's go up into the toe right here. What is this call? Maybe even a little bit further. Exactly. Basquiat worked with Andy Warhol. Yeah. Yeah, where would Basquiat be if he didn't realize the possibilities of working with Andy Warhol? And then had the courage to like actually go up. I think Omizu is the one who shared a story that the Basquiat story of him just like trying to pitch a pitch a what do you call it? Pitch a postcard to Andy Warhol is actually not accurate. Omizu is the one that told me that it's not accurate. So I don't know the exact situation that happened, but I think I think Omizu was basically saying the true story is actually, you know, a lot more, you know, closer to life, in the sense that the original story was spiced up a little bit for the sake of for the sake of spicing it up. Why wouldn't you spice up a story? That's what, you know, you got to do if you want to sell paintings. You got to spice it up. So let's see here. We're going to go like this. I'm going to go tighten this up, go around, tighten this up. Let's go like this. We're gonna go down here. What did Omizu say was the original story? Omizu said the original story was totally something different. But Paco, you seem to know a lot. You know, you seem to know a lot about a good amount about art. What's your thing? What brings you in today? How can we support your endeavors? That's what we're here for, right? We're all here because we want to connect and support each other. Maybe not financially, but in some other form or other. Mises says it was Bruno Bischofberger that saw Banquet's Basquiat's work for Andy. Sure, Bruno mentioned this up and coming young artist to Andy after Basquiat started to get a lot of attention. Well, there you go. So there was a little bit of promo. There was a little bit of marketing. You know, Basquiat wasn't just a nobody that, you know, suddenly Andy Warhol's like, you know, partnering up with this kid. Basquiat definitely built up a reputation first, I think, is what we're trying to get at, right? Is that is that what we're trying to get at? I don't want to like overinterpret for anybody, but I think that's what the story is. I mean, there's a lot of stories like that, though. You know, like for the average artist, for the average person that buys art, I think Basquiat's story is fantastic, right? Oh, this one kid just being hopeful happens to see Andy Warhol through a store window and decides to run in and pitch him some of his artwork. Brilliant, amazing, courage, coming of age, like it's an amazing story, right? But I think the reality for artists, you know, artists want to know, hey, can I really just go up to a renowned artist and give them my artwork and become their best friend and have them, you know, promote me and turn me into one of the greatest artists, most recognized artists? I think that's more of the fantasy. But Basquiat was an artist way before working with Andy. Yes, the story's all convoluted because of his fame. So, you know, there's the truth that artists need to hear, I guess. Or maybe we don't need it. Maybe there's more value in having the hope that, you know, you can just walk up to an artist and be like, "Hey dude, check out my paintings, buy my postcard for 25 cents," and then have them, you know, admire you for the rest of eternity and help turn you into one of the greatest artists that ever lived by bringing you into the social circles and inviting you to all the great parties. That's the fantasy. Maybe living that fantasy is the way to go. Maybe that fantasy is the way to go. I don't know. But Paco, if you're still here, feel free to share. You know, I don't know if you're an artist or what brought you in today, or you know, what you do. But if you are an artist, feel free to share the work that you do. Feel free to plug your channel, your social media, whatever that is. Whatever it is, man. I'm totally an open channel that I allow people to be free to share and promote themselves. All right, here we go. We're going to look for a gray, and we're going to start adding in outlines for the feet here. Here's a great story about de Kooning. I know Omizu's a fan of de Kooning. And I heard this story about this other artist. I don't remember who the artist was, but supposedly, you know, de Kooning at this point was already selling a lot of artwork. You know, he was already successful, established, famous, yada, yada, yada. And supposedly this one kid, this young up-and-coming artist, goes up to de Kooning. I don't know how he finds him, but he goes to his house, apparently, is the story, the legend. And he asks de Kooning for a painting. And de Kooning asks, "What's the painting for?" And the kid says he wants to do a series where he erases paintings. So he was going to take de Kooning's painting and literally just erase it. But it had to be a painting that de Kooning might miss. And that was how this other artist got started and, you know, skyrocketed to fame, was by literally erasing a de Kooning painting. But of course, he had to source it, right? He had to get the de Kooning painting from de Kooning. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name properly, but from de Kooning, he had to get the painting. And then he had to convince de Kooning to let him do whatever it was he wanted with the painting. 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3, and then 4. And then get the big toe here. Use some horrible toes, by the way. These toes are horrible, my goodness. Let's see. I have to space them out better. Can anybody see these toes? Look how bad these toes look. Look at these toes. Look at that foot. Look at this foot. Look how horrible that. Can y'all see that? Can y'all see how funny this foot looks? I don't mind painting the feet or anything. And of course, you know, I'm going to take my time, continue to modify it. This is just my initial breakout of the foot. But look how funny that looks. It is hilarious. It is the funniest foot you'll ever see. And it's usually times like this when I actually start to like feel concerned. I'm like, uh-oh. You know, what do I do now? How can I possibly repair this? How can I make it look good? I've ruined the painting. But 9 times out of 10, occasionally I do come to a point where, you know, a point of no return, and I've like messed it up so bad. Occasionally that happens once in a while. But on a painting like this, I can't afford to. I mean, I can afford to, but, you know, time and everything, I pretty much have to just work the area until it's right. So that's what I got to do. And I don't really have a choice. So let's see. How can I possibly repair this foot? I don't know. I'm gonna zoom in on how this is the Dragon Ball universe where even the babies have abs. Yeah. Uh, they've inspired your own work. He says, yeah, stories all convoluted. Paco says, artists inspire the artists. You do like collaborating paintings, though. They've inspired your own work. It was drawing, and that kid was Robert Rauschenberg. Yes. Dragon Ball universe. They actually chose together which work Robert would erase. Omizu knows his art. All right, so I'm going to get really close up on this. Really close up on this here, on our feet, because I want everybody to know how bad of a foot painter I am. Kidding. It's not, you don't want people to know that. All right, so let's see. How do we save this? First, let's try to create a, let's align the toes. So we're going to come up with an edge, and we're going to go, maybe the toes need to be a little bit longer. We're just going to blend up the edge like right there. And this toe needs to come down a bit. And I think also another thing we got to do is we got to get the right proportions. So let's see how we do this. Let's see how we get these proportions. This foot's coming out a bit far, so we can actually bring that in a bit. Let's go, let's grab, let's grab a little bit of, does anyone else ever is anyone else ever amused that somehow I pull myself out of like these like horrible situations like this, and it's just like, I mean, I find it very amusing to like do something like this and then somehow turn it into something that looks nice. There's another artist I really like that does stuff like this. Not like this. He does stuff more purposefully. But Tyler Tilley, I don't know if anyone knows Tyler Tilley. He does live streams every once in a while. But he's a funny artist because he'll like take an entire painting and just like transform it from, let's say, like a Simpson character, and then he'll turn it into like this beautiful masterpiece. Somehow. Let's go. We're gonna go with a slight. Honestly, I have no idea how I'm gonna rescue this foot. You will all be as surprised as I am. Neither do I, Omizu. Just like learning, and you like what you see. Omizu is a grandmaster. Omizu, Grandmaster Omizu. Grandmaster Omizu. The Grand Masterest of them all. The grandest master of them all. Grandmaster. Master. 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 Master of puppets. Alright. Okay. Let's see how we do this. We gotta blend this shadow down. Shadow is like an awkward visual effect right there. Now we're gonna try to blend some of this to get like a nice ankle. Let's see if we can make this ankle go up a little bit. We're going to shape it until it's just right. So let's reduce the, let's go up here. Let's go with this gray color here. And then we're going to go, let's see, come in. Amizi, you want to paint a version of... This is an original Emmett Ferguson. Dali, Baslitz, Matisse, fellow grandmasters. Yes. So something that I do for the most part, Paco, is basically in my stream, anyone, most of the time, can be whoever they try to claim they are. So, you know, you can lie. Now, again, I do add this caveat. I do add this disclaimer. Like, if we ever do business or if we're ever working together in a more serious nature, of course, you know, I would probably check for evidence or proof. However, you know, if you want to say that you're a multi-millionaire artist who sells art around the world and you're one of the greatest artists who ever lived and you want to say that you are, do it. Like, if you want to do that in the stream, you can. You have permission to be whoever you say you are in this live stream as an artist or whatever. Now, of course, again, that doesn't mean other people won't verify. And that doesn't mean that it's necessarily totally physically true in your life. But you know what? If you want to say that you're a great artist, if you're talented artist or an art connoisseur or whatever, be our guest. You're welcome to. So I think this leg really needs to have quite a lot of shadow. So let's bring this down here. Bring some shadow down. And then let's we're going to go up at an angle like this, down. Actually, you know what? This toe is not as bad as I thought it might be. You're an art fan, art lover, art fan. Fantastic, great. Well, you've got tons of artists in here to entertain you, to keep you informed, to share ideas with you. To whatever. Omizu. We got Dondrell. We got all sorts of great artists. And this is just in the middle of the afternoon. Sometimes there's a lot more that come later. Let me try to tighten up these toes here. We're going to grab our white. We're going to rest on top of here. let's see what we can do about trying to save these feet here. So there needs to be a nice sharp angle right here. Sharp angle that comes around. Gives us some nice toes right there. Then around the front. And what do we do about these feet? So this needs to go in a circle to give it the shape of the heel here, or whatever you call this part of the foot, the part that comes around. And then let's see. Let's go with a smaller brush, much thinner brush. I'm gonna set it a goal to go right up into our piece right here. Let's do this. If I can save this, I can save anything. I can even save a relationship. Save everything except the relationship. No, just kidding. Kidding. These still kind of whack. These toes are still kind of whack. You gotta make the big toes bigger and the small toes smaller. So let's do that. Let's try to make these long toes a little longer, give them a little bit more length and depth. A little bit more thickness. Get a little more thickness on that foot. And we're gonna get a little bit more right here, going down right here, give it a little bit more thickness on this toe. And then these last two toes should just be like little slivers. I gotta make them fill out just a bit more. Let's go see what we can do about painting around it. So I'm gonna do some painting around these toes. Grab some of my blue here that I had the other day. You only said that Don Drill's art reminded you of basket and it seems to started something. Well, anything could start something in here. Yeah. You could definitely start a lot of random discussions and conversations in here. Anything can spark controversy. So that foot's looking a little better. Yes, that's right. Just a little bit better. This is a foot that we could eventually be proud of. I just have to improve some of the details around the edges of the foot and of course some of the toenails and stuff, but let me build that in. But yes, Paco, welcome. Thank you for your contribution of conversation, your conversation contribution. That is the beautiful thing about the internet. So much more can get done. So many interactions can happen because, you know, it's just such a wide open space, right? Like everybody's welcome. You would give what a little bit more thought? What would you give a little bit more thought? These toes? Are you talking about the toes? Let's go. You know, I've thought that pretty much like every single one of these figures takes up to an hour, at least an hour. Like I've already spent almost an hour just on the feet. But I will say, you know, for that, it's not necessarily because, you know, I would say that my process compared to other artists is probably not as efficient, if I'm being honest. You know, because other artists would probably have everything sketched out exactly. They would have had the toes like perfectly sketched out already, had a pencil, and they could just like kind of like paint in the lines. But I don't do that. It could make my painting much faster, my painting, but I refuse. I refuse to do it that way. I duly refuse to do it that way. So let's go. These toes are looking okay. I still have to add a couple shadows and a couple highlights. But let me see about these highlights here. Toes are looking better. They are. I believe that. I believe that the toes are looking better. Of course, still some more work to do. But at least now I have the shape of the leg and I can start to work from there. Let's see if we can add some highlights. We're gonna add some white highlights around where we can. I think definitely along the top of our knee. On the top of our knee here. So let's see. This right here is going to be a highlight. So let's go like this. We'll go. Maybe a little too bright, but I could tone that down a little bit. Oh, Mizu would have done that, and he'd been done long ago. Yes. Mizu is the master painter of us all. I mean, anybody who did it that way would have been done long ago. All right, it's like a just you make your own coloring book. Make your own coloring book. We're gonna go up. Add these really light highlights on the shirt here. Oh, you can't even see what I'm doing. Let me pull this back a little bit now. Get back. So I'm working on a fabric. Working on a fabric right now. Excuse me. So we're going to go around here. Around there. I don't like how that really looks, but we'll fix it. We can adjust and modify. So I do want to add some of this white highlight. We're gonna go right into here. Add some more white to crystallize this location here. Let's go with a nice thick black and white. Let's not be afraid of the highlighted nature of these parts of the painting. All right, and here we go. So just gonna keep this going on. Continuing on, adding some brighter highlights, really using a very dense chunk of titanium white. Titanium white is basically just a popular white paint. I don't know the exact difference. I think one of them, titanium white versus zinc white, I think titanium is a bit more opaque. I think is with the titanium white is a bit more opaque, so it's not as see-through. Whereas I think zinc is less opaque. Omizu, what is the difference between, Alexa, what is the difference between zinc and titanium white?
Titanium white is more powerful and brilliant than zinc white. Titanium white is also called as zinc white. Titanium white is a translucent white pigment with a bright appearance. It has a tinting strength and it is a good hiding pigment.
So there we go. Sometimes I like Omizu to be my painting expert, the person that I ask my painting questions to, and then sometimes Alexis she's right there. She's ready to answer questions. Let's see, we're going to come down here. And there we go. A little highlight right there. And then we're going to add another highlight right next to it, like right here. Let's go. Right across here, we're going to have some more highlight. Right across here. Give it a nice flat highlight. Paco Simba, well done in 2025. That's actually the worst. Oh no. Repeat everything that was said? What do you mean? Phew. Man. Oh, Paco. All right, well. Andrell doesn't feel good about being compared to Basquiat, or is that the offense was taken? There was offense taken. Dondrel, Jean-Michel Basquiat. One of the goats of the 1980s. One of the goats, the creative goats of all time. With artwork currently selling into the multi-millions. But no, I mean, we didn't say much after you left. I think Paco conversation kind of died down. I can't remember what exactly I've been saying. I don't think most of the time I don't always say things that are, I don't remember saying anything that's super like, oh, you missed out, Dondrell. You totally missed out on what I was saying. I don't think anything like that was said. I was making fun of the feet that I've been painting. That's one thing. I was making fun of the feet, but all I'm doing right now is I'm just going into the our figure here and painting in some of the highlight areas. So, you didn't miss much. You didn't miss much, if any. If you even missed anything, you definitely didn't miss much. If you even missed anything, which I don't think that's the case. You didn't miss too much. Painting's like, this painting's taken a long time, so we'll be pretty much just progressing along here. Basquiat. Oh, yeah, he did die of overdose. Yeah. Man, Dondrell. Oh. The internet is a really hard place to tell if people are, because I'm very sarcastic. From my live streams that I'm fairly sarcastic a lot of times in a joking way. But I change my voice, but it's hard to like see people change their voices on it's hard to get a joke on the internet for me. I'm already slow enough as it is to pick up regular jokes. And then maybe just add a bit of highlight into this section. More of like a blending. The bird. The bird's been chirping in my non-live stream videos. But yeah, she's being quiet right now, surprisingly. Now that you mention it, she'll probably start chirping again. Chirp, chirp, chirping away. Times of peace and quiet. Gotta take advantage while we can. So let's go like this. Go up right here. Sugar gets Dondrell. You know what? You know what gets me is red meat. Beef, steak, pork. I don't know. A lot of red meat really gets me. I think lamb. Is lamb considered... Alexa, is lamb considered red meat? Alexa, is lamb considered red meat?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, yes, lamb is a red meat.
I don't eat a lot of lamb because I actually feel bad because, you know, they're haven't had a chance to live. But you know what? Like, what kind of life is living on a farm? Maybe you're doing, you know, maybe it's better to eat lamb because, you know what, they don't have the chance to really suffer. I don't know. What am I saying? And I like goat meat. I like goat. I like oxtail. Oxtail gets me. Red meat, you know, any sort of red meat, but like oxtail, I think oxtail is a red meat. Oxtail will get me. Butter. Who doesn't like butter? Does anybody not like butter? I think everybody likes butter. Except if you're vegan. If you're vegan, then you probably don't like butter. Or maybe even vegans, I think, like butter. They just can't eat it. I feel like I'm making some progress in this in the outfit here. What does everybody think? Still some little funky areas, but I think eventually we can tie it all together. I probably should have added the darker areas first before I even started this part, but whatever. Hamburgers. Oh, my goodness. I love hamburgers. Hamburgers are the greatest. I like hamburgers more than hot dogs. You know, I don't really like hot dogs. Not a big fan of hot dogs. I haven't tasted a really good hot dog in a very long time. Ah, there she starts. You got somebody got her started. Can't get her to stop though. Just gotta wait it out. Oh no, that's not the section. Okay, this purple area, let's start to, you know what, let's focus on the highlights first, and then eventually we'll do like a paint over of all the other spaces. So this can actually go into the hair, go around the shoulder, up through the hair, up to this section. And let's go like this. You know what? Since we were comparing Dondrelle to Basquiat, let's say, you know, the thing that I do like more about Dondrelle's work is that I feel as if I'm not saying that like Dondrelle is, you know, as, you know, as brilliant as Basquiat, or, you know, the other way around or whatever. I'm just saying, if we were to compare and I was to try to find the qualities that make Dondrelle's work better than Basquiat's, or that I like the qualities of Dondrelle's work that I like better than Basquiat, I would say, you know, Basquiat really spent a lot of time. His was huge. He was huge on, you know, a lot of like randomness and esoteric stuff. Like, you could look at Basquiat's work and he would like post something, and then, you know, it'd be like very pop culture. So, you know, there's this it's like it was like a way of design. It's almost like I don't want to call it a shtick or a gimmick. That's not, you know, I'm calling it that because I can't think of a better word. Excuse my vocabulary. But you know, I feel like as far as Dondrelle's work, it's more like from him, right? Like, it's more like Dondrelle's work, at least his work that I've seen recently or like in the past. You know, art can always change. People's designs and styles can always change. But I think a lot of Basquiat's ideas were from external. And what I mean by that is like, you know, pop culture, you know, it was the wave of the time, right? Pop culture, Andy Warhol, references the pop culture, athletes, all those things. Whereas I think the thing that separates Dondrelle's work from Basquiat, and again, you know, not trying to say that either, you know, that he is Basquiat or whatever. For clarification, we were talking about Basquiat earlier, and someone compared Dondrelle to Basquiat. But I think Basquiat, where the difference is, and where I like Dondrell's work, that I think separates it, is that Dondrell's work comes from internal. I'm not saying that Basquiat didn't have anything that was like, you know, from his personal experience or from internal, right? But if you look at his work, a lot of his work has a lot of references from the external. A lot of his references are like, you know, from external sources, uh, from like pop culture, athletes, stars. Is really like relevant to the time. Almost like Forrest Gump, right? The Forrest Gump, where you know he takes in all the references. You look at Forrest, you watch a Forrest Gump, and then you know everything's like a it's like a time capsule. But as far as expression goes, I think Dondrell really captures this idea of it being really from the self. Again, I've repeated that, but just trying to support my statement by talking about Basquiat's work. But yeah, it's like, you know, internal references versus external references. And again, art can change, right? We all have different series of artworks. We all have um, artworks that change and styles, etc. But at the end of the day, I think that's what, you know, whereas if we were try to look at both artists and use that comparison, you know, what separates, what makes Dondrell's work Dondrell's, and if I had to guess, that would be it. But you know, I haven't seen Dondrell's entire body of work, so maybe he does pull a lot from pop culture. I don't know, but I haven't seen too many pop culture references in Dondrell's work. But I definitely think that's a good contrast. Is you know the taking your taking your references and your ideas from the external world. You know, like with Basquiat would use symbolism from books that he had, you know, references. He would use like, you know, he would use symbolism. He would do all these things, but of course, a lot of it came from external. You know, of course, he had to come up, put it together, and like synthesize it into his artworks. But if I was to try to think of some differences between Dondrell versus Basquiat, you know, they're visually similar, but you know, they have some visual like yeah, okay, expressiveness, right? Like I get it. But I think where if we were to compare like where it comes to where the line separates, I think the internal versus the external loci of influence. I don't even know if that's a right word, loci of influence. I'm just making it up. But you know, the internal versus the external reference can have a huge difference. There we go. There's my my thesis essay on the work of Dondrell Lee. I paint more like Basquiat than Dondrell, really. Is Dondrell is Omizu trying to insult the both of us at the same time now? Muzu, you're making two enemies at once. Just kidding. I would love to paint like Basquiat. But honestly, like I said, you know, I don't think. All right, I may have to get going in a minute, but let me just finish doing a couple more things on our outfit here. I want to do stuff on this outfit. We're on a roll. I feel like once you're on a roll on painting a certain area, you should definitely try to keep that momentum going. If you can, can't always, but if you can, go keep it going, you know? Make that feel natural. Try to add a couple of some highlight right into here. Right into here. Let's go into this purple right here, and we're gonna go move this down. But yeah, we're gonna wrap up here in a moment. Got to take care of a couple of things, a couple of personal activities. Plus, I'm hungry. Gotta go eat. Go eat something. Little piece of hair here and doesn't want to come off. There we go. All right. I think his outfit actually looks kind of good. It's like, you know, still got some issues, but you know, once we tighten up some of these details, I think we'll be good to go. Emmett paints fantastical painting, not fanatical, fantastical. Appreciate the stream. Yes, thank you. Great to Paco. Thanks for tuning in. You are welcome to join in and share, embrace the conversations, and make fun of my artwork or sing praises, whatever you like to do. Either way is fine. The only thing you can't do is make fun of Omizu, because Omizu is a moderator, and Omizu will ban anybody and everybody for saying anything that doesn't click with how he feels during the day. Totally kidding there, by the way. Not being serious. Just expanding on a previous stream about moderator powers and whatever. But yeah, I got stuff to do this afternoon. Can you believe that I have something to do? I almost never have anything to do. Ever. Never. I don't do anything except sleep on a couch for 10 hours a day and then eat for another 10 hours a day. All right. Omizu's bulletproof, yeah. It's not even me painting, it's just an AI. What if it turned out that I was just an AI? That this whole time I was just a sophisticated AI made by a Chinese company, because I am Chinese. And it was just anyways, people could do that, you know? I mean, somebody could possibly just start like the very realistic AI, and if they build enough channels, like, you know, if you make enough content using that likeness of somebody, eventually, I mean, people are going to believe it's real. People will believe it's real if it's good enough. Wouldn't it be wild if you found out I was AI? The insanity. Insanity would occur. But, all right, let's go wrap up our materials and let's get moving. Take care, everyone. Thank you for being here, and good night.